Viewers, let's go to the top story we're tracking right now. That is the Israel-Hamas war. And as the war is continuing to rage on, Israel has set the record straight. Israel has now made it very clear that there will be no negotiations over ceasefire. Israel's defense forces are now preparing to intensify ground operations inside the Gaza city. Furthermore, as Israel's relentless fight against terror continues, the Israel Defense Force fighter jets have struck Hezbollah terror infrastructure in Lebanon. Viewers, top updates coming here, Republic TV. In the Israel-Hamas war, it's been over a month now that the entire war has been raging on. Republic TV has been getting you all the details from ground. We have a team of reporters on the ground who are reporting bravely for us and getting us all the details. Gursimran is there too. On the ground. Let's go to Gursimran, who's joining us live. And Gursimran is near the Gaza border. Gursimran, take us through what's the latest coming in from Israel. There have been so many calls being made for ceasefire. Multiple countries have also appealed for a ceasefire. But Israel is saying that there'll be no ceasefire and there'll be no negotiations over the ceasefire as well. Take us through the details.
Good morning, Shivangi, and we are into the 35th day of the war. The war still continues inside the Gaza and especially the Gaza city where the Israel Defense Forces have entered. It's been 4 days that the IDF is operating inside the Gaza city and they have got some of the key success in the ongoing operation. Right now we are reporting from the armistice agreement line, and I'll request Surendra Rawatji to, if he can show you the armistice line that divides the state of Israel from the Hamas. And as we speak, there is a major explosion that has taken place. These are the airstrikes that are being carried out by the Israel Defense Forces on the territory of Hamas. And if Rawatji can move a slide right, he will be in a position to show you the explosion that has taken place. The white smoke that is coming out is from one of the operational bases that the Hamas has used, possibly because what the Israel Defense Forces are saying that even as the area that they have cleared earlier, that is again and again being used by the terrorists of Hamas, as they have a huge tunnel network that is being used to target the Israel Defense Forces. And as we speak, this smoke that is coming out from one of the installation which is inside the Gaza city, inside the Gaza, this is hardly some a mile inside the Gaza border. And important to mention that if we speak of the operations that have been carried out yesterday there was a big success for the Israel Defense Forces, as the head of the anti-tank unit, Abu Maghsib, who heads the anti-tank unit of Hamas in the Central Campus Brigade, he was neutralized in an airstrike that was carried out on the input that was generated by the Israel security authorities and executed by the Israel Defense Forces. Important to mention that yesterday in the Jabalia also there were roughly 3 dozen of terrorists that were inside a camp. More than 10 were killed and others were apprehended in an operation that lasted for over 10 hours. So there was a massive operation that was launched in the Jabalia also, and also in the other areas. We have seen in Eilat there was an attempt to target the Israel Defense Forces when a projectile that was fired from the Syria side that landed in a school, and after that there was a retaliation by the Israel Defense Forces to the attempt that was made from the land of Syria. On the Lebanon front, we have seen that how Hezbollah group is continuously attempting to destabilize the Israel Defense Forces. Yesterday also multiple attempts were made, but the source of fire was retaliated effectively by the Israel Defense Forces. But if we speak of the situation when it comes to the border of Syria, the Yemen has also attempted when they brought down one of the key drones of the US, and it was then retaliated by the US side also. So the trouble seems to be mounting as the allies of Hamas, the allies of Iran, they are getting united against state of Israel. But Israel is very firm on their stand that they won't budge and there won't be any ceasefire till all the hostages are released. Yes, there was a decision that was taken that there will be a human corridor that will be given so that the people from the north of Gaza moves towards the south of Gaza, because we have seen that now the people here, they are also understanding that it is very important to leave the northern side and to move the southern of the Gaza river, because the retaliatory strikes that Israel is carrying out will also affect the civilian population if they don't move out. And we have seen that in past 48 hours there is roughly a 1 lakh population that has moved from the north side to the south of Israel, south of Gaza Strip. And now the operations, intensified operations inside the Gaza Strip are on the Israel side, is very sure and firm that they will very soon be getting some of the key commanders who have been zeroed in inside the tunnel network or inside the Gaza city. Shivangi.
Absolutely. And Gursimran, what we are seeing right now is that US President Joe Biden has also said that there's no possibility whatsoever of the Gaza ceasefire. US has been backing Israel, and all the decisions that Israel is making when it comes to the Israel-Hamas war, US has said and backed all the decisions. Gursimran, take us through what's happening in the diplomatic front, because the UN had earlier called for a humanitarian ceasefire.
See, the call that was given by the United States, that is something that everyone is following, to be very specific, because humanitarian corridor has been given, and as we speak, the jets have started roaring in the skies of the Gaza as they enter from the Israel side. And as we continue to report from the armistice agreement line 1949, it's important to mention that the Israel side has made it very clear that there will be human corridor that will be given, but that will be only be restricted to the movement of the civilians of the Gaza, not to the terrorists of Hamas. And if any country or any organization tries to provide support to the terrorists of Hamas, it will be prevented. That means it will be targeted. And as we speak, just a mile from us is the dense population of the Gaza. Hardly from 200-250 meters, the territory of Gaza starts, and the place where the dense population is, still the smoke is coming out from that very area, because the regular targets are being hit by the Israel Defense Forces as part of their Operation Iron Sword that was launched on 7th of October. And if we speak of the operations that have been carried out in the past 35 days, more than 14,000 targets have been hit by the Israel Defense Forces. The Israel claims that many of the key commanders, be it from the Naval Brigade, the Air Brigade, or the anti-tank unit, they have been brought down by the Israel Defense Forces in the operations. And not only inside the Gaza, but there was another attempt in the Brazil that was to target the Jews and the Israeli citizens. That was also thwarted by the Mossad along with the Brazil security agencies. So the attempts by the Hezbollah group, by the Hamas, they are not restricted inside Gaza or to Lebanon, but also in the other countries. Also, these terror groups are planning to target the Israel citizens that have been thwarted by the Israel Defense Forces along with the Mossad. Shivangi.
Absolutely. Gursimran, stay with us. I'm coming right back to you. There's a report of yours I want our viewers to watch. As the IDF troops continue to advance towards Gaza, my colleague Gursimran has filed this exclusive report from Ground Zero. Let's listen in.
Israel's war against Hamas has now entered day 34, and now the intensified operations are on inside the Gaza city. It's the third day of the operations inside the Gaza city, and Israel Defense Forces has claimed to have destroyed major terror infrastructure that was built inside the Gaza city. The intense hand combat is also on, the close quarter combat, in which the Israel Defense Forces has also suffered some of the casualties, but many of the terrorists that were operating inside the Gaza city have been neutralized. Right now we are reporting from the armistice agreement line, the 1949 agreement that divides the Gaza from the Israel side, and this was something that we have seen in the past also. One of the major confrontation points has been on the north side, and now as the operations intensified since the launch of the operations that have been carried out since the 7th of October, there have been more than 14,000 targets that have been brought down by the Israel Defense Forces in a coordinated operation by the Air Force, Navy, and also the ground forces, destroying over 100 tunnels that were built by the terrorists of Hamas. And the visuals that we are showing you are from inside the Gaza. From this very place on the armistice line, the Israel Defense Forces entered the territory of the Gaza and have been operating since 27th of October. The forces have confiscated more than 4,000 weapons, including from the schools, the kindergartens, and also the mosques and the civilian areas that have continuously been exploited by the terrorists of Hamas. Yesterday, in a major success, Abu Zina, who happens to be the key developer of the Hamas for their weaponry systems, has been neutralized, and the Israel Defense Forces have also suffered casualties. 349 soldiers have laid down their life during the Operation Iron Sword that was launched on 7th of October, hours after the deadly terror attack by the terrorists of Hamas that claimed the life of more than 1,400 civilians, including some of the foreigners, and over 240 were taken hostages.